Picture yourself at the base of a towering mountain, its peak shrouded in a thick, unyielding mist. You can't see the summit, but you feel its pull, a silent promise of something greater, something beyond the mundane plateau where you stand. Why do you linger here in the shadow of what could be? Why do you accept the weight of settling when the climb, though steep, beckons with the thrill of transformation? This is where we begin, in the heavy fog of low standards, where the emotional cost of mediocrity drags at your soul. I'm speaking to you, yes, you, who feels the ache of unfulfilled potential, but fears the ascent. Within the grand journey of your life will change. When you change your standards, we start by facing the truth. Settling is a slow surrender, and it's time to break free. Feel the ground beneath you shift. It's time to climb. Imagine yourself as a gifted creator, a mind brimming with ideas that could light up the world. You sit at a desk in a dimly lit office, the hum of fluorescent lights drowning out your inner voice. The job pays the bills, barely, but each day chips away at your spirit. You're a painter who hasn't touched a brush in years, a writer whose stories gather dust in a forgotten drawer. You tell yourself, this is safe, this is enough. But at night, when the world is quiet, the ache creeps in, a hollow pang of what might have been. You fear the uncertainty of leaving, the risk of pursuing more. What if you fail? What if you're not enough? So on you stay, tethered to a life that feels like a cage. Months turn to years. Colleagues come and go. Promotions pass you by. And still, you sit, numbed by routine. One day you overhear a coworker whisper about a dream they chased, a small business, a leap of faith that paid off. Something stirs in you, a flicker of regret sharper than any paycheck. You realize the true cost isn't the risk of failing, it's the slow death of staying where you don't belong. That mountain peak, hidden in the mist, calls to you now. Your potential isn't gone, it's waiting higher up, where the air is clear. The lesson burns bright. Settling steals more than time. It robs you of the life you were meant to live. You must climb, even if the first step trembles under your weight. Now see yourself as a student, young and full of possibility, walking the halls of a school that feels more like a maze. You could be brilliant. Teachers have said so. Peers have noticed, but you aim for just enough. Passing grades, not excellence. Why push harder when good enough gets you by? The effort of true mastery feels like a storm you'd rather not weather. So, you coast. You turn in half-hearted work, skip the extra hours and shrug when the results come in. I passed, you mutter, as if that's the victory. But deep down, you know it's a lie. You watch others, those who sweat through late nights, who wrestle with failure until they triumph, receive praise, scholarships, opportunities. You feel the sting, not of jealousy, but of self-betrayal. Each C on a report card is a brick in a wall between you and the person you could be. The mist on that mountain thickens with every choice to settle. One day at a class reunion, you meet an old friend who aimed higher. They speak of challenges they conquered, of a life built on striving. You smile, but inside, the weight of mediocrity crushes you. The lesson emerges like a beacon. Low standards don't just limit your future, they dim the light of who you are. The peak is there, beyond the fog. Start climbing now. Let's pause and look at the chains you forge for yourself. Why do you accept low standards when every fiber of your being yearns for more? Settling isn't just a choice. It's a quiet surrender to fear, to doubt, to the illusion of comfort. You build walls around your dreams, brick by brick, telling yourself it's safer this way. But safety is a lie when it costs you your fire. The emotional toll of mediocrity isn't loud. It's a slow, creeping frost that numbs your ambition until you forget you ever had it. How many visions have you buried under the weight of good enough? How many times have you silenced the voice that whispers, "You're meant for more"? Think of that mountain peak, hidden in the mist. Your true potential isn't a fantasy, it's a destination. obscured by the haze of self-imposed limits. Every time you settle, you stay at the base, where the air is heavy and the view is small. Mediocrity is a thief, stealing not just your time, but your sense of self. It whispers that the climb isn't worth it, that the summit is for others. But I tell you this, the mist isn't permanent. It lifts with every step you dare to take. Pain, effort, uncertainty. These are not your enemies. They are the wind that sharpens your resolve. Break the chains. Look up. The peak is closer than you think. Consider the allure of comfort, how it seduces you into stillness. You felt it, that warm, easy pull to stay where you are, to avoid the jagged edges of growth. Low standards are a soft bed, but they're also a trap. You lie there day after day while the world moves forward without you. The emotional cost of mediocrity isn't just regret, it's the erosion of your spirit. Each time you choose ease over effort, you chip away at your own foundation. You become a shell of who you could be, haunted by the echo of untried strength. What have you lost by clinging to the familiar? What could you gain by stepping into the unknown? Picture yourself as a river meant to carve through stone, to shape landscapes with your force. But when you settle, you become a stagnant pool, unmoving, collecting debris. The mountain peak looms above, its mist a veil over the life you're meant to claim. Mediocrity costs you the rush of becoming, the thrill of seeing how far you can go. It's not just about failing to reach the top, it's about never even trying. We are not born to stagnate. We are born to surge, to ascend, to pierce through the fog until the vista of our potential stretches before us. Don't let comfort be your cage. Let it be the fuel that drives you upward. When the weight of settling presses down, don't turn away. Stand before a mirror, literal or mental, and face yourself. Ask, am I living the life I want or the life I've accepted? Be honest. The truth might sting, but it's the first step to breaking free. Write down one thing, one standard you've let slide. Maybe it's staying in a job that drains you or aiming for the bare minimum in your efforts. Name it, own it, then commit to one small shift. If it's the job, update your resume tonight. If it's your effort, set a goal to go beyond just enough in one task this week. This isn't about overnight change, it's about momentum. Each small act of raising your standards is a foothold on that misty mountain. You don't need to see the peak yet, just trust it's there. When doubt creeps in, return to the mirror. Remind yourself, mediocrity is a choice, and so is excellence. Choose to climb. Track your progress, even if it's slow. Write down every win, no matter how small. You're not just moving forward, you're rewriting who you are. The emotional cost of settling fades with every step. Take it now. Stop measuring yourself by the lowest bar. Redefine what enough means to you. If you've been coasting, whether in work, relationships, or personal growth, pause and ask, what would more look like? Visualize it. If passing is your goal, imagine aiming for mastery. If staying safe is your standard, picture taking a bold risk. Write down 3 ways you can raise the bar this month. Maybe it's dedicating an hour a day to a skill, or saying no to something that no longer serves you. Make it specific. Make it real. Hold yourself to this new standard, even when it's hard. Tell a trusted friend or mentor about your goal. They'll keep you accountable. When you feel the pull to settle, breathe deep and recall the mountain. The mist hides your potential, but it doesn't erase it. Every time you push past enough, you clear a little more of that fog. The emotional weight of mediocrity lifts when you refuse to let it define you. Act now. Redefine your limits. The summit waits. We've walked through the heavy fog of settling, felt the emotional cost of mediocrity, and faced the truth. Low standards are a burden you don't have to carry. You've seen it in the creator trapped at a desk, in the student coasting through potential, and in the quiet chains of your own choices. The mountain peak, veiled in mist, stands as a reminder that your true potential is waiting just beyond the next climb. The key lesson is clear. Settling costs you more than you realize, but the power to change lies in your hands. You don't have to accept a life of just enough. You can demand more of yourself, of your world, of your future. As we prepare to journey deeper into how raising your standards transforms everything, hold this truth close. The mist isn't your enemy, it's your challenge. Step forward, even when the path is unclear. Feel the ground shift beneath you. Trust the ascent. The view from higher up will change everything. Keep climbing. The mist will part, and your peak will shine. Picture this: a blacksmith's forge, the air thick with heat, the clang of hammer on steel echoing like a heartbeat. Sparks fly as raw metal bends, resists, and finally transforms under relentless pressure. That metal is you. Right now, you stand at the edge of a decision. Will you embrace the heat, the discomfort, to forge yourself into something stronger? Or will you shrink back, seeking the cool comfort of the familiar? This is the crucible of change, the moment where your life shifts because you choose to raise your standards. In the grand journey of transforming your existence, this is the forge of decision. It's not easy. It burns. But within that fire lies the power to reshape who you are. Let's step into the flames together and uncover the strength that awaits when you demand more of yourself. Imagine yourself, bleary-eyed, as the world outside your window is still cloaked in the hush of pre-dawn darkness. The alarm blares at 5 a.m., a time when most are lost in dreams. Your body begs for just 5 more minutes, the warmth of your bed a siren call. But something stirs within you, a quiet resolve. You've decided to build a skill, writing, coding, or mastering a craft that could redefine your future. Yet every fiber of your being resists. Why suffer when you could sleep? Why push when no one sees? Day 1, you stumble out of bed, groggy and uncertain. The first hour feels like wading through mud. Your mind wanders. Your progress is slow. Doubt creeps in, whispering that this is pointless, that you're not cut out for this. But you grit your teeth. You remember why you started. You want mastery, not mediocrity. So you return the next day and the next. Each morning, the resistance lessens just a fraction. Your fingers move faster, your thoughts sharpen, weeks turn to months. And what once felt like torture becomes a ritual. You've forged a new habit, a new standard. That skill you struggled to grasp, it's now a blade you wield with confidence. The lesson here is raw and real, like steel under the hammer. Strength isn't born in comfort, it's forged through intentional pressure. You didn't just wake up early, you chose to rise above the pull of ease. You decided that your future self deserved more than excuses. And in that decision, you began to change your life by changing what you accept from yourself. Now, picture yourself as an athlete, standing at the edge of a field or gym, the weight of a dream pressing on your shoulders. You've set a goal, a marathon, a championship, a personal record that demands everything. Your old routine won't cut it. Late nights with friends, indulgent meals, and lazy weekends call to you like old habits always do. But you've drawn a line in the sand. You've raised your standard. Training begins at dawn, pushing your body through grueling regimens that leave your muscles screaming. Sweat stings your eyes, exhaustion gnaws at your resolve. Why endure this when you could coast? The first weeks are brutal. You miss gatherings, say no to temptations, and watch others live the easy life while you grind. Friends question your obsession. Your own mind doubts if the sacrifice is worth it. But deep down, you know, every drop of sweat, every ache, is a strike of the hammer, shaping you into something unyielding. Months pass, and the pain becomes purpose. Your endurance grows, your speed sharpens. The day of the race arrives, and as you cross the finish line, lungs burning, heart pounding, you realize it was never just about the goal. It was about who you became in the forge of that decision. You chose discipline over distraction, and in doing so, you rewrote your limits. This story mirrors the blacksmith's craft. Steel doesn't ask for the heat, but it can't become a weapon without it. You didn't just train harder, you demanded more of yourself, embracing the pressure that others flee. That choice to raise your standard transformed not just your body, but your very core. Let's pause and look deeper. What is it about discomfort that scares us so much, yet holds the key to our greatest growth? Think about it. Every time you've settled for less, stayed in a job you hate, skipped a chance to learn, or silenced a dream, it was because you dodged the heat. You feared the burn of effort, the sting of failure. But here's the truth. Pain is not your enemy, it's your forge. Just as a blacksmith knows that steel must endure fire to gain strength, you must understand that raising your standards means stepping into discomfort willingly. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege. Consider the alternative. How many visions have you buried under the weight of good enough? How many times have you chosen the soft path, only to wonder years later what could have been? The forge of decision is not a place of cruelty, it's a place of creation. When you choose to demand more of yourself, you're not breaking, you're building. You're taking the raw, unformed parts of who you are and hammering them into something extraordinary. The heat hurts, yes, but it also purifies. It strips away excuses, doubts, and half measures, leaving behind a version of you that can withstand any storm. So while stand in the fire, let it shape you. Your life changes not when the world bends to your will, but when you bend yourself to a higher standard. There's another layer to this forging process we must face. The decision to raise your standards isn't a one-time act, it's a daily strike of the hammer. Each choice, each moment of resistance is a test of how much you're willing to endure to become who you're meant to be. Think of a river carving through stone, not with a single rush, but with relentless persistence. That's you, shaping your destiny through repeated, intentional effort. Why do so many falter here? Because the hammer feels heavy, because the first strike doesn't show results. But remember, even the mightiest blade begins as a shapeless lump. What separates those who transform their lives from those who stagnate is the courage to keep striking, even when the metal resists. Raising your standards means redefining what you'll tolerate, not just from others, but from yourself. It means saying no to the easy out, no to the comforting lie that this is fine. It means looking in the mirror and deciding that fine isn't enough. You're not here to be average. You're here to forge greatness. And greatness doesn't come from a single, perfect moment. It comes from 1,000 imperfect ones, each hammered into place with resolve. So ask yourself, are you swinging the hammer, or are you waiting for someone else to shape your life? Now, let's get practical. The moment you decide to raise your standards, discomfort will meet you like a wall of fire. Whether it's waking early, cutting out distractions, or pushing past fear, the first step is always the hardest. Here's how to face it. First, name your standard. Be specific. If it's about health, decide you'll exercise 5 days a week. No excuses. If it's about growth, commit to reading or learning for 30 minutes daily. Write it down. Make it real. Second, anticipate the resistance. Know that your mind will scream for the old way, comfort, ease, delay. Prepare a response. Tell yourself, this is the forge. I'm stronger than this doubt. Third, take the smallest action immediately. Don't overthink. If it's waking early, set your alarm now. If it's training, lace up your shoes. Action silences hesitation. Finally, track your progress. Mark each day you uphold your standard. Seeing the streak grow will fuel your fire. Remember, the first flame burns brightest, but it's also the one that tempers you. Step into it. Once you've started, the battle isn't over. Distractions and old habits will try to douse your fire. Guard your forge with these steps. First, Protect your environment. If your new standard is focus, clear your space of temptations, hide your phone, mute notifications, create a zone for work. If it's discipline, surround yourself with reminders of your why, a photo, a quote, a goal written bold. Second, build accountability. Tell someone your standard, someone who will challenge you to keep it, or join a group with similar aims. Their energy will stoke your own. Third, revisit your decision daily. Each morning, ask, am I living up to what I demand of myself? If the answer is no, don't spiral into guilt. Correct course, adjust, recommit, strike the hammer again. Lastly, celebrate small wins. Did you stick to your standard for a week? Acknowledge it, not with indulgence, but with pride. You're forging something unbreakable. Keep the fire alive. As we step back from the forge, let's gather the embers of what we've learned. The decision to raise your standards isn't a fleeting thought. It's a commitment to endure the heat, to strike the hammer, to shape yourself through pressure and persistence. You've seen it in the Dawn Warrior, rising before the world to claim their skill. You've felt it in the athlete, sacrificing ease for excellence. The takeaway is clear. Your life transforms the moment you choose discomfort over complacency, the moment you demand more of yourself than you ever thought possible. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about standing in the fire and refusing to flinch. As we move forward, remember that this forge is always with you. Every decision, every challenge is another chance to temper your resolve. Carry this heat into the next chapter of your journey, where we'll explore how to sustain these standards against the storms of life. For now, hold this truth close, let it burn bright within you, and repeat it until it becomes your pulse. Stand in the fire, forge your strength. Picture a mighty river carving its way through an ancient valley. For centuries, it has flowed along the same path, wearing grooves into the earth, following the easiest route. But what if that river decided to change its course? What if it pushed against the banks, defied the pull of gravity, and forged a new way forward? The effort would be immense. Rocks would resist, currents would falter, but over time, the landscape itself would transform. That river is you, your life, your habits. Your standards have flowed along familiar paths, often taking the route of least resistance. But to reshape your world, to carve out a destiny that matches your deepest vision, you must redirect your flow. This is the heart of change, raising your standards and holding them, no matter the pressure or the pull of old ways. In this journey of transformation, you'll learn how to redefine what you accept from yourself and others, how to maintain that higher ground, and how to let your redirected flow create a life of power and purpose. Are you ready to push against the banks of your past? Let's begin. Imagine yourself as a driven professional, climbing the ranks in a demanding career. Your inbox overflows, your phone buzzes with urgent requests, and every colleague seems to need just 5 minutes of your time. You've always said yes to late-night projects, yes to weekend calls, yes to tasks that drain your energy but pad someone else's agenda. It's how you've survived, how you've proven your worth. But deep down, you feel the erosion. Your personal goals, writing that book, training for that marathon, or simply being present with loved ones, keep slipping downstream, washed away by a current of overcommitment. One day, a new project lands on your desk. It's high profile, a chance to shine, but it means sacrificing another weekend, another piece of yourself. You pause. Something inside you snaps like a taut rope. You realize that saying yes to everything means saying no to your own vision. So, you do the unthinkable. You set a boundary. I can take this on, you say, but only within these hours. My other priorities matter too. The room goes quiet. Your boss hesitates. A colleague raises an eyebrow. But you stand firm. The pressure is a weight on your chest, yet for the first time, you feel the river of your life shifting. You're redirecting your flow. The weeks that follow aren't easy. There are tense conversations, missed opportunities, and moments of doubt. But something remarkable happens. By guarding your time, you reclaim it. You finish a chapter of that book. You run farther than you ever have. Your work, now focused, sharpens into something truly impactful. The landscape of your life begins to change. New opportunities emerge, ones aligned with your true priorities. The lesson burns bright. Raising your standards isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about protecting what matters most. Like a river carving a new path, the effort stings, but the result is a world reshaped by your will. Now see yourself as a parent, juggling the chaos of daily life. Your home is a whirlwind, kids running, screens blaring, notifications pinging from every device. You want to be a role model to show your family what discipline and presence look like, but distractions pull at you like a relentless current. You scroll through social media while helping with homework, half listen to your child's story while checking emails, and collapse at night feeling like you've given everything yet accomplished nothing. The river of your family life flows aimlessly, scattered across too many shallow streams. One evening, as your child struggles to focus on a school project, you notice their frustration mirroring your own. That's when it hits you. If you want them to value focus, you must embody it. You decide to raise the standard, not just for them, but for yourself. You turn off your phone during family time. You clear the clutter of screens and noise from shared spaces. You create a sacred hour each evening where everyone is present, whether it's for dinner, a game, or simply talking. The first few nights are awkward. The kids resist. You itch to check your messages, but you hold the line. You're redirecting the flow, and every push against the old banks feels like lifting a boulder. Over time, the change takes root. That hour becomes a sanctuary. Your children start sharing more. Their focus improves, and you feel a connection you hadn't realized was missing. Even your own mind sharpens. You tackle your own goals with newfound clarity. The landscape of your home transforms into a place of intention, not distraction. The takeaway is undeniable. When you elevate your standards, you don't just change yourself, you reshape the world around you. A river's new course doesn't just alter its path, it nourishes new lands. Let's step back and gaze at the river of your life. For years, perhaps decades, it has flowed along paths of comfort, habit, and compromise. You've accepted less than you deserve, not because you're weak, but because it's easier to drift than to push. Lower standards are like a riverbed worn smooth by repetition. They feel safe, familiar, even inevitable. But what if that smoothness is a trap? What if the very ease of your current path is what keeps you from the heights you were meant to reach? Raising your standards is the act of redirecting that current, of choosing a harder route that demands more but yields more. Think of a river forcing its way through a mountain. The stone resists, the water churns in frustration, but with every push, the mountain gives a little. Over time, a canyon forms, a testament to persistence, a scar of triumph. That's what higher standards do for you. They carve through the obstacles of doubt, fear, and external pressure, creating a legacy of strength. It's not effortless, it's not instant, but nothing worth having ever is. Ask yourself this: how long have you let the current of good enough carry you? How much more could you become if you dared to steer toward the unknown? The beauty of redirecting your flow is that it's not just about you. Your elevated standards ripple outward, touching everyone in your life. A friend sees your resolve and finds their own. A child watches your discipline and learns to value theirs. Your new course doesn't just reshape your world, it inspires others to redirect theirs. So stand at the edge of your river, feel the weight of the change you must make, then push. The landscape awaits. Raising your standards isn't a one-time act, it's a daily vow. It's not enough to redirect your river's course. You must hold the new path against the pull of old currents. The world will test you, Old habits will whisper for you to return to shallower waters. People will push against your boundaries, not out of malice, but because change unsettles the familiar. You'll feel the weight of this higher ground, the strain of refusing to settle. But isn't that strain the very proof of your growth? Isn't the ache of holding a new standard the fire that forges a stronger you? Picture your life as a riverbank you've painstakingly reinforced with stone. Every time you say no to a distraction, every time you choose integrity over ease, you add another rock to that wall. But storms come, deadlines, temptations, doubts, and they batter your defenses. The water of your old ways surges, seeking any crack to slip through. This is where most falter. They let one stone slip, then another, until the river reclaims its old path. But not you. You stand guard. You rebuild. You remember why you chose this course? Because a life of higher standards isn't just a different path. It's a different destination. So ask yourself, what is the cost of slipping back? What dream, what potential will you lose if you let the current pull you under again? Holding your standards is a battle. But it's a battle worth fighting. Every day you stand firm, you etch your new path deeper. Every choice to uphold your values widens the canyon of your legacy. Keep holding. The river of your life is yours to command. Let's get down to the grit of raising your standards. One of the most powerful ways to redirect your flow is by setting boundaries. Clear, unyielding lines that protect your time, energy, and purpose. Start with this. Identify one area of your life where you consistently overcommit or settle for less. Is it at work, where you take on too much? In relationships, where you accept treatment that dims your light? Write it down. Be brutally honest. Now, define what enough looks like. If it's your time, decide how many hours you'll give to others' demands versus your own goals. If it's your emotional space, decide what behaviors you'll no longer tolerate. Next, communicate your boundary. This isn't about confrontation, it's about clarity. Use simple, firm language. I'm available for this, but only within these limits. Expect resistance. People are used to the old you, the one who drifted with their current. Stand firm anyway. Each time you uphold your boundary, you reinforce your new path. Finally, track your progress. At the end of each week, ask, did I protect what matters most? Adjust as needed, but never lower the bar. Boundaries are the stones that keep your river on course. Lay them with intention and watch how they reshape your world. Another step to maintaining higher standards is cutting out distractions, the noise that scatters your focus and dilutes your flow. Begin by auditing your environment. Look at your daily routine. What pulls you away from your priorities? Is it endless scrolling on your phone? Is it clutter in your space that clouds your mind? List 3 distractions that drain you most. Now, eliminate them one by one. If it's digital noise, set strict times for checking devices, once in the morning, once at night. If it's physical clutter, dedicate an hour to clear a single space, then maintain it. Replace the noise with intention. Fill the gaps with actions that align with your higher standards. A quiet moment to plan your day. A conversation with someone who lifts you. A step toward a long-held goal. When distraction creeps back, and it will, pause. Remind yourself why you raised the bar. Write down one reason this focus matters. This isn't just about cutting out, it's about building in. A river flows strongest when its path is clear. Remove the debris and let your purpose surge forward. As we close this chapter of your journey, reflect on the power you've uncovered. Redirecting your flow isn't a fleeting act. It's a relentless commitment to higher standards that reshape every corner of your life. You've seen it in the professional who drew a line to protect their time, in the parent who built a fortress of focus for their family. You've felt it in the philosophical truths that challenge you to push against old currents and hold your new course. And you've armed yourself with practical steps to set boundaries and silence distractions. The key lesson burns like a beacon. Raising your standards is the act of redirecting your river. And though the effort is heavy, The transformed landscape is your reward. Now, while stand at the edge of your new path, feel the current of your elevated choices gaining strength. You're not just changing direction, you're carving a legacy. As we move forward, we'll explore how to sustain this momentum, how to turn these standards into unshakable pillars. Until then, remember this truth. Let it echo in every choice you make. Redirect your flow, reshape your world. Picture yourself in a garden at dawn, the air crisp, the earth damp beneath your feet. In your hands, you hold a pair of shears, sharp and unyielding, as you stand before a tree, once vibrant, now burdened with dead branches sapping its strength. You hesitate. Those branches, though lifeless, feel familiar, safe, but deep within, you know the truth. To let this tree soar, to let it bear fruit again, you must cut away the excess. This is no mere garden task. It's the battle of your life. You are the gardener of your own soul. And today, you must prune what anchors you to mediocrity. In the journey of transforming your life by raising your standards, this act of pruning, eliminating habits, relationships, and mindsets that drag you down, is your next bold step. Feel the weight of those shears. Feel the power in your hands. Are you ready to carve a path to growth? Imagine yourself sitting across from someone you've called a friend for years. Let's name them Alex. Coffee cups steam between you, but the warmth is absent from their words. Every conversation with Alex is a subtle erosion of your spirit. You're not cut out for that, they say when you share your dream of starting a business. Stick to what's safe, they urge when you talk of taking risks. Their doubt mirrors the voice in your head, the one you fought so hard to silence. Each meeting leaves you smaller, heavier, as if their words are stones piling on your chest. You've clung to this friendship out of loyalty, out of fear of being alone. But deep down, you feel the rot it spreads, how it anchors you to a version of yourself you've outgrown. One day, as Alex smirks at your latest idea, something snaps within you. You see it clearly. This bond isn't support, it's sabotage. It's a dead branch on your tree, draining the life from your roots. You take a breath, steady yourself, and speak. I need space, you say, voice firm despite the tremor in your chest. Alex's face hardens, but you don't waver. You walk away from that table, heart pounding, feeling the sting of solitude, but also the first rush of freedom. In the days that follow, the silence is loud, but it's clean. You fill it with your own thoughts, your own plans. You journal your goals without fear of mockery. You seek out voices that lift you, not crush you, and slowly, you feel your branches stretch toward the sun, unburdened. The lesson here is sharp as a blade. Not every connection is meant to last. Some relationships, no matter how long they've endured, are weights that keep you tethered to lower standards. Pruning them isn't betrayal, it's survival. It's choosing your growth over their comfort. Like a gardener, you must be ruthless with what no longer serves your bloom. What dead branches are you still clinging to? Who dims your light when you dare to shine? Now picture yourself in your home, surrounded by chaos. Boxes of old keepsakes line the walls. Clothes you haven't worn in years spill from closets, and gadgets you swore you'd use gather dust on shelves. Every corner of your space mirrors the clutter in your mind, half-finished projects, unmade decisions, and a nagging sense of being stuck. You've been chasing a dream, perhaps to write a book or build a healthier lifestyle, but the weight of all this stuff feels like an anchor. It's not just physical excess, it's a symbol of standards you've let slide, settling for someday instead of today. One Saturday, you decide enough is enough. You grab a trash bag and start small, clearing out a single drawer. Old receipts, broken pens, meaningless trinkets, they go. With each item discarded, you feel a spark of momentum. Hours pass, and soon entire shelves are empty. You donate clothes, recycle old electronics, and toss out relics of a life you no longer live. As the space around you clears, so does your mind. You stumble upon a notebook with ideas for that book, buried under years of neglect. You set it on your now empty desk, a silent promise. By the end of the day, your home feels lighter, and so do you. That night, you sit down and write the first page of your story, not because you have to, but because you've made room for what matters. Here's the truth carved from this act. Excess, whether material, mental, or emotional, steals the space you need to grow. Pruning isn't just about cutting away, it's about creating room for new life. Your standards rise when you refuse to let clutter define your potential. Like a tree stripped of dead weight, you stand taller, ready to bear fruit. What are you hoarding that blocks your path forward? Let's pause and look deeper into this act of pruning. It's not a gentle task. It demands courage, precision, and a willingness to face discomfort. Think of your life as that garden tree, its branches tangled with habits that sap your energy, scrolling mindlessly for hours, saying yes to things you dread, or replaying old failures in your mind. Then there are the relationships, like heavy limbs, that pull you down with their negativity or indifference. And don't forget the mindsets, those roots of self-doubt or fear of change, that keep you anchored to a soil of mediocrity. To raise your standards, you must wield the shears. You must cut, even when it hurts. You must trust that the loss of the familiar will make way for the extraordinary. Consider this. Every great transformation in nature begins with a shedding. A snake discards its skin to grow larger. A forest burns to regenerate stronger. Why do you fear letting go? What if the very things you cling to are the barriers to your ascent? Pruning isn't punishment, it's liberation. It's the gardener's wisdom. Knowing that to nurture life, you must sometimes sever what's dead. The pain of cutting away a toxic bond or a limiting habit is temporary, but the growth it unlocks is boundless. Look at your life right now. What branch weighs heaviest on your soul? Are you brave enough to let it fall? There's a quiet power in emptiness, a truth the gardener knows well. When you prune a tree, you don't just remove what's dead, you create space for new shoots to emerge, for sunlight to reach deeper, for roots to stretch further into the earth. So it is with your life. When you eliminate what drags you down, whether it's a draining friendship, a cluttered environment, or a self-defeating thought pattern, you're not just losing something, you're gaining room to plant seeds of higher standards. You're inviting in clarity, focus, and the kind of energy that fuels real change. Think about the weight you carry daily. How much of it is self-imposed? How many burdens could you release if you dared to say no more? The void left by pruning can feel unsettling at first. Solitude after ending a toxic tie. Silence after clearing clutter. But that void is fertile ground. It's where you rebuild with intention. It's where you choose who and what deserves your time, your heart, your effort. Like a river carving through stone. This act of elimination shapes you into something stronger, something truer. So tell me, what will you plant in the space you create? What vision for your life deserves to take root now? Let's turn philosophy into action. If you're serious about raising your standards, start with a ruthless audit of your life. Grab a notebook and carve out an hour of uninterrupted time. Write down 3 categories: habits, relationships, and mindsets. Under each, list what's holding you back. Be brutally honest. Is it the habit of procrastination that steals your evenings? A relationship that leaves you drained instead of inspired? A mindset of "I'm not enough" that stops you before you start? Don't sugarcoat it. See these for what they are: dead branches on your tree. Next, choose one item from each category to prune. Start small if you must, but start. For the habit, set a boundary. Maybe no phone after 8 p.m. to reclaim your focus. For the relationship, have that hard conversation or simply step back, creating distance. For the mindset, counter it daily with an affirmation: I am capable and I will act. Track your progress for a week. Notice how letting go, even in small ways, shifts your energy. You're not just cutting away, you're making room for growth. Keep those shears sharp. What will you prune today? Pruning doesn't mean isolating yourself or becoming cold. It means building boundaries that protect your growth. Think of these as the fence around your garden, keeping out what harms while letting in what nurtures. Start by identifying one area where you've let lower standards creep in due to lack of boundaries. Maybe you overcommit to others, leaving no time for your goals. Or perhaps you absorb negativity from someone because you fear conflict. Decide now what's non-negotiable for your peace, your progress. Take action with clarity. If overcommitment is your anchor, practice saying no without guilt. Start with small requests and build up. If negativity from others weighs you down, limit exposure, shorten calls, redirect conversations, or politely disengage. Write down your boundary and why it matters. Remind yourself daily that this isn't rejection, it's protection. You're pruning to preserve your strength, to ensure your tree grows tall and unbroken. Boundaries are your shield. How will you wield them this week? As we close this chapter of your journey, remember the gardener's truth. Growth demands sacrifice. You've walked through the garden of your life, shears in hand, facing the dead branches of habits, relationships, and mindsets that tether you to lower standards. You felt the sting of letting go, ending a toxic bond, clearing clutter, setting boundaries, but you've also tasted the freedom it brings. The takeaway is clear. Pruning the excess isn't loss. It's the key to unlocking your potential. Every cut you make carves space for new strength, new vision, new life. You are not diminished by what you release. You are magnified by what you choose to nurture. Stand tall now, gardener of your soul. Look at the tree of your life, lighter, stronger, ready to reach for the sky. As you move forward, carry this resolve into the next stretch of your path, where we'll forge the tools to build even higher standards. Until then, let this mantra guide your hand and heart. Cut boldly, your growth awaits. You stand atop a windswept hill, gazing at a towering structure piercing the clouds, a monument of your own making. Each brick, laid with trembling hands and unyielding resolve, tells a story of sacrifice, discipline, and vision. This is no ordinary tower. It is the embodiment of your transformed life, a testament to the standards you dared to raise when the world urged you to settle. How far have you come since the days of doubt, when your foundation was nothing but loose sand? Now, your tower stands as a beacon, not just for you, but for everyone who dares to look up and believe. Welcome to the Tower of Transformation, where the profound impact of sustained higher standards reshapes your destiny and ripples through the lives of others. In this moment, feel the weight of every choice that brought you here. You've built something extraordinary. Let's celebrate the power of your elevated standards and witness how they inspire a legacy far beyond your own walls. Picture yourself as a once struggling artist, your canvas a battlefield of doubt and despair. Years ago, you sat in a cramped, dimly lit room, surrounded by half-finished paintings and crumpled sketches. The world didn't see your vision. Gallery owners turned you away. Friends whispered that art was a hobby, not a life. Your hands ached from endless strokes, your heart from rejection, but something within you refused to break. You decided to raise your standards, not just in your craft, but in your discipline. No more late mornings. You woke at dawn to paint. No more excuses. You studied masters, honed your technique, even when exhaustion clawed at your eyes. Each day, you laid a brick in your tower, a silent promise to yourself. I will not settle for less than my soul's expression. Years passed, and slowly, the world took notice. A small exhibition turned into a gallery feature. A single sale became a flood of commissions. Now, you stand before a community of aspiring creators. Sharing your journey at a local workshop, you tell them of the nights you nearly quit, of the mornings you forced yourself to pick up the brush. A young girl in the audience, eyes wide with dreams, says, I thought talent was enough, but you've shown me it's about showing up, no matter what. Your tower of transformation, built brick by brick through unrelenting standards, doesn't just elevate you, it lifts others. They see your structure and begin to build their own. The lesson shines like a beacon. Every brick of discipline elevates your foundation, and in doing so, you inspire others to reach for the sky. Now imagine yourself as a reformed procrastinator, someone who once let time slip through your fingers like water. Deadlines haunted you, dreams gathered dust on the shelf of someday. You were the master of excuses. Tomorrow was always the day to start, but one day, staring at a life half-lived, you felt the sting of regret sharper than any failure. You decided enough was enough. You raised your standards, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate bricks of action. You set a timer for 25 minutes to work on a task. Any task. You committed to one goal a day, no matter how small. You stopped saying, "I'll try," and started saying, "I will." Each brick of discipline felt heavy at first, but as they stacked, your tower grew, solid, unshakable. Today, you're a mentor to a group of young professionals, guiding them through the maze of self-doubt and delay. At a recent meetup, a young man admits, "I keep putting off my business idea. I'm scared I'll fail." You share your story, the missed opportunities, the late nights of catching up, and the moment you chose to build your tower. You show him your planner, filled with small wins, each a brick in your foundation. Start with one step, you tell him. Lay one brick today, tomorrow, lay another. Months later, he returns, beaming, with a prototype in hand. Your tower of transformation didn't just change your life. It became a lighthouse for others lost in the fog of inaction. The takeaway is clear. Sustained higher standards don't just elevate you, they create a ripple that reshapes entire communities. Pause for a moment and consider the weight of a single brick. It seems insignificant, doesn't it? A small act of discipline, waking up early, saying no to distraction, pushing through discomfort, feels like a drop in the ocean of your ambitions. But stack enough of these bricks, and you build a tower that pierces the heavens. Your life transforms not through sudden miracles, but through the quiet, relentless act of raising your standards. Think about it. How many times have you underestimated the power of one choice? How often have you dismissed a single day of effort as meaningless, only to wonder years later where you could have been if you'd started sooner? The truth is, every brick matters. Every time you choose to hold yourself to a higher bar, you're not just building a structure, you're forging a legacy. Your tower of transformation stands as proof that sustained effort, no matter how small, creates monumental change. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Each brick of discipline elevates your foundation, and with it, your entire world. Your tower is more than a personal triumph, it's a signal fire on a stormy night. When you raise your standards and sustain them through the gales of doubt and the floods of failure, you become visible to others who are struggling to find their way. Your life, once a scattered pile of bricks, now stands tall, a structure of inspiration for those who feel buried under the weight of mediocrity. Have you ever considered how many eyes are watching you, even silently? How many hearts are stirred by the quiet strength of your resolve? The impact of your higher standards isn't contained within your own story. It spills over, like a river breaking its banks, nourishing parched lands far beyond your reach. Building your tower isn't a solitary act, it's a communal one. We rise together when one of us dares to stand taller. Each brick you lay with discipline doesn't just elevate you, it offers a foothold for someone else to climb. Your transformation becomes their permission to begin. When the idea of raising your standards feels overwhelming, remember this: you don't need to build a tower overnight. Start with one brick. Right now, identify one area of your life where you've settled for less. Maybe it's your health, your work, or how you spend your time. Choose one small, actionable step to elevate your standard. If it's health, Commit to a 10-minute walk every day? No excuses. If it's work, set aside 30 minutes to focus on a project without distractions. Write this commitment down. Place it somewhere visible, a reminder of the brick you're laying. When doubt creeps in, and it will, pause. Look at that reminder and ask yourself, am I building my tower or am I tearing it down? One brick at a time, you'll see your foundation grow. Celebrate each small victory. They are the mortar that holds your transformation together. Sustained higher standards begin with a single, deliberate act. Lay your brick today. As your tower rises, beware of the subtle forces that erode your foundation: complacency, distraction, and the temptation to lower your standards for comfort. Guard your structure with vigilance. Create a daily ritual to reinforce your commitment. Each morning, take 5 minutes to reflect. What is one action I will take today to uphold my higher standards? Write it down, and at day's end, review it. Did you follow through? If not, don't despair. Identify what pulled you off course and adjust. Surround yourself with builders, not demolishers, people who challenge you to rise, not settle. Limit exposure to habits or influences that weaken your resolve, whether it's endless scrolling or negative self-talk. When you feel the pull to slack, visualize your tower. See each brick as a promise to yourself. Ask, will this choice strengthen my foundation or crack it? Sustained higher standards demand constant care. Guard your tower, and it will stand through any storm. As we stand before the Tower of Transformation, let's marvel at what you've built. Each brick of discipline, each moment you chose to raise your standards, has elevated not just your life, but the lives of those around you. You've seen it in the artist who inspired a community with their relentless craft, and in the mentor who turned procrastination into purpose, guiding others to build their own towers. You felt it in the weight of every small choice, the quiet power of persistence, and the ripple of your example touching distant shores. The key lesson of this journey shines bright. Sustained higher standards are the foundation of profound change, a force that transforms you and inspires a legacy beyond your own walls. As we prepare to move forward, carry this truth with you. Your tower isn't finished. There are still heights to reach, still bricks to lay. Keep building, keep rising, and watch as the world rises with you. Lay every brick with purpose. Your tower transforms the world.